Hey everybody, this is Blue. I'm very sorry that I haven't made a video in over a month. Work has been very hectic over the holiday season. And this is my first time in 2 months. I'm getting 2 days off in a row. So, hey, finally, get to make some videos. Well, recently I was watching some videos I'm subscribed to, and they were on opposite sides of an interesting topic, and that's the amount of rules that we have in our role-playing games. The top one by Dungeons and GURPS was in defense of crunchy RPG systems. Crunchy is a description for saying that a game is rules heavy, that there are a lot of rules, and how there are people that call rules heavy games bad. It is kind of into a way to insult a gaming system by saying that it's crunchy. All right. And then the other channel, Wizards of the Tower, they made a back to basics, as you see. And they were talking about people that were tired of the rules heavy and going to rules light. And in which the gentleman, I can't remember what his name is, made the comment that pretty much all you need is paper, pen, some dice, sand, and you can go role playing. And that's their stance. I have to take sides on this. I have a very simple stance. I played Rolemaster most of the time. 90% easily of my role playing was playing Rolemaster. Rolemaster also is called Chartmaster because they love charts. They love to add details. Sometimes things took a while to do in Rolemaster, and I loved it. Why I like rules heavy games is because it gives structures, it gives guidance, it can take away some of the people coming up with some asinine ideas, because if you have no rules and somebody can then go, well, I'm going to do this. Well, if there's no rules against it, let them do it. And that could take away from the game, in my opinion. If all you are going to do is just tell a story, just tell a story then. It's not really role-playing. It's playing a kid's game, playing with action figures, basically, because there's very little details that you can record or build off on. And so I'm going to use a few analogies here and there throughout this. The first one is a comparison of rules light and rules heavy, and why rules heavy is better. Let's say you're hungry. And so you go and you just grab a burger and fries. Okay? Basics. Just like the soft games here. Okay. A burger and fries can taste good. It can be filling up a little bit. But they can only go so far. Well, let's say you want to have something better. What has hamburger and potatoes with it that could be a good meal? Meatloaf and mashed potatoes and gravy. These require more ingredients, and sometimes there is little steps you have to do to make it right. Gravy for the mashed potatoes and gravy. Now that is its own separate thing, and you have to follow a step-by-step guide to make the gravy, right? It's very simple, but that's something extra, and it makes it better. So you have to add the little things to it. You can't go and have basics all the time. Sometimes you have to have those extras. You got to have the details. You got to have a rule here, a rule there to make everything go good. The thing is, it's all about how the rules are written. Because if the rules have been well thought out, well planned, play tested and all that, they are going to be a bit more streamlined and a good flowing game, even though it might have some rules to it. maybe more fun than a rules light game. Okay? So, which would you rather have? The mashed potatoes and gravy or a burger and fries? I would like the mashed potatoes and gravy because that is a more rewarding. There's more flavor to it. It took effort. It took time. And thus you get a better reward. If all you're going to do, sorry Wizards of the Tower, I know I'm going to sound like I'm picking on you. I don't mean to. If all you think you have to have is the pen, paper, some dice, and I think they made comments of shells or something, you're not putting that much into it, so you really can't expect all that much out of it. I want to tell you a story, and it's a real dramatic story. In this fantasy land, this dragon flew above a farm and saw that there were some animals in it. The dragon was hungry, so it swooped down and it burnt down the barn so that the animals will run out, and it ate all the animals. Well, the farmer and his wife were in the barn and died. Inside the house, that's not that far away, was their son. Well, the son saw what happened. The son swore to get vengeance. He grabbed a sword. He went looking for the dragon. He got into a sword fight to slay the dragon, defeated the dragon, went home, and lived happily ever after. Epic story, right? Well, you can take that little story and add a lot of details to make it a better story. The less details you have, the less reward you're going to get from the game. Second. Orange tea. I always drink orange tea. And then Wizards of the Tower was making a comment about the books. The bad thing, in their terms, about a rules-heavy game is the amount of books involved. They were talking about how people would have duffel bags full of books. Well, generally speaking, most hosts, have that at their place. They don't have to lug around all the books. And yes, not all the books are going to be used, but books add detail. The books make things better. If all you have is just a couple quick rules that you got on a piece of paper or in your head, that kind of limits to what you can do. And so, we're going to go through all my Rolemaster books real quickly. I got creatures no, these are races of cultures. Above ground and below ground. Alright, so your character wants to go and explore some caves. Hey, you might come across the gnome. What about gnomes? Information's here. Arms companion. Okay, we want to find a royal order, a fighting order so our hero can learn how to fight. Information's in here. Sea law. Well, maybe the guy has to go to a remote island to find where the dragon's at. And he has to have some adventures on the sea. There's creatures in the sea and all that. Information's in here. This is Rolemaster Companion 6. I have a lot of the Rolemaster Companions. But each one of these adds a possible information. Something that you might want to incorporate into your story to make the story better. Maybe there is a rule that you want to have in there. Something that could make things a little bit more interesting because, you add a detail, a flair to the game. Construct companion. Well, maybe you want to make some constructs, a golem or something like that. Well, right here it is, the information for it. The Elemental Companion, Fire and Ice. This is the remake of it. I actually bought the PDF for it. I'll do a review for it soon. But there's information, details. Each one of these books adds details. I have both the Oriental and martial arts companions. Okay? So maybe he's going to a far off land and needs to know about their cultures and all that. There's the information right there where you can add a little flair to the game. I always say add a little flair because each game should be unique and each GM, DM is going to do their own little thing. And so this helps. Alchemy companion. Well, maybe you need special magical weapons and all that to fight this dragon. Well, it's in here. Okay. Castles and ruins. Obviously, if you got dragons, there's probably some castles nearby or ruined castles, a temple. And here is the information you need to build an interesting castle and have the stats on it to make it even better. Yes, you can go vague, but sometimes vague is boring. You need something interesting. You need something that makes this castle unique. Maybe it has a tower that's extremely high and there's a purpose for it. What's the purpose? Bad thing, about having a pen and paper is, what about combat? How are you going to do combat? Roll the dice. Hey, you did it. I'm sorry, that sounded a little condescending there. You need to have a structure in combat in fighting because, I believe that rules also dictate what the GM does or can do. And so if you are going to have battles because you are going to go after orcs or the dragon or whatever, how are you going to determine combat? Are you going to say, well, if you roll 6, you got it killed. Oop, 4. Nope, you didn't kill it. Then what does it do? Does it get a chance to attack and only needs to roll because you're just a weak human, a 4 and above, and it hurts you or kills you? I mean, I don't like that part. So, arms law, it helps, it gives details on what your weapons can do, how to fight. It's a good thing to add to the game. And I'm only halfway done with my books. Yes, I have the original Spell User's Guide. I have Spell User's Companion. Okay, Magic. There's got to be some type of structure in how spells are done. And you can't do that with just a pen and paper. There is one role-playing game, Karn. It's only like 2 or 3 pages. And, what if somebody wants to do some interesting magic? Well, you can't because there's nothing for it. Okay, Dark Space, that is for Rolemaster's Space Master game. If you're going to do multiplane and all that, I would have it. I did my original review, 10 Million Ways to Die. Okay, it has the charts and graphs, so all these different weapons and all that. This is a supplement for arms law. Again, so with this, I can have a gun if I wanted to. A laser gun. You can add so much to the game. I have Essence, Mentalism, Channeling. I got Arcane Companion. Should do a review on this one. I don't think I've done one on this one yet. But I already got quite a big stack, and there's a School of Hard Knocks, Skills Companion, so that you can add skills to your game. That's one thing I like about Rolemaster. It's a skill-based instead of profession-based. So a character can develop his skills independently. He can make a unique set of options, whereas with like D&D, it's profession based and each subclass has its own little, oh, and this subclass has this feat. And that's what separates it from other professions. Maybe 1 or 2 feats. We don't have that in Rolemaster. Playmaster's Guide, well, this is a great way to help new players play. So this is worth its weight in gold if you have a new player. One of my Rolemasters. And rules are also nice because what if we have a new GM? Game Master Law. Yes, it is a thick book, and it talks about how to be a better GM. There's rules for weather, the economy, basics on professions, races. There's a lot of little interesting information in this. And if you are new to the game, a rules-heavy game might be slow to understand, but it will help you figure out what you can and can't do in a game. Again, yes, I know it's fantasy. Yes, I know it's fictional. But people have to understand, what they can do and what they can't do to be better at it. Then another book for game masters is Character and Campaign Law. This is about helping you create characters and campaigns, obviously setting up a campaign to go adventuring in. I think that is an important book. Spells. Now, they were talking about all these thick books and all that. One of the thickest books is Spell Law. I love Spell Law. This has over 2,000 spells on 183 spell lists. The information in here is great. And what if you have a new player that is a wizard and he does need a reference point to come up with what he can do? Reference right here. And then finally, the final book is Creatures and Monsters. Rolemaster had 3 books called Creatures and Treasures 1, 2, and 3. Those were great books. This is the combination of CNT 1 and 2. And this is strictly talking about monsters, creatures, and other races. It is a great book to have. If you're adventuring, do you want to constantly be coming up against orcs? Hey, there's some movement in the woods. Guess what? It's orcs again for the 10th time. If you have more references and other ways to come up with information, it will add to the game. Okay, one time you could be doing orcs, and next time you could have some rabbits come out. Maybe a fellow traveler going the opposite direction. Sometimes it could be a danger, sometimes it can't. It doesn't need to be. And the one thing that you don't have off of pen and paper, sorry guys, right here. These are the random encounter tables. There is about 40 of them in this book. So you can easily roll the dice and let's do Barren Wasteland. And let's roll a 43. So you go to down here and you see 43. Small one is ants. Another chart says that it is a giant slug. One chart says it's a crimson, which is basically a variant of a buffalo or bison. And then the high one, where you got more magic in the wastelands, says it's a reroll, something special. And you can roll it again, and let's do an 87. An 87 on that table, a sky manta, a flying manta ray. Okay, that's weird. But all these books, all these rules, all these options, yes, it would be a pain in the butt to have to carry them, moving them place to place. But this is 1/4 of what I have. Okay. But the information inside these books is immense. You would be a fool to think that I don't need it. Like the story that I told you about, the 2-minute story about the kid who kills the dragon. Boring. But if you have books like this, it gives you ideas, and you can tailor that dragon to be something unique. It doesn't have to always be a flying, breathing dragon. No, maybe it's an astral dragon. Something weird and all that. And so here's another analogy, and it's rock music. Okay. A rock band does not just grab instruments, go on stage, and plays new songs all the time. They have to take time to write songs, which means that they are playing different chords, they are rewriting words, they are testing it out, they are spending hours writing one song. And so they can't just all go out there and just beller this and, hey, that works. No, they have to test it out. It takes work. It takes effort. Work and ethic. Effort. Right here, going through these books. If you are a GM and you put the effort out, you're going to know what's in here. You're going to know that, I got to go check out the tarot deck. That's RMC number 7, page 44. Okay, it comes with the game. Yes, there are responsibilities, but the rewards are worth it. Okay, because if you put the effort in and you know where everything's at and you can help people out without getting out all the books, it makes the game go better. Okay, and the musicians, they have to rehearse, they have to practice. Yes, maybe the first couple of times it's going to suck. I mean, everybody's learning something new, and a group does not know everybody's little intricacies, little ins and outs, and all that. Because, they were Wizards of the Towers, they were talking about getting people, involved and keeping attention because of the initiative system in combat. Well, we don't know each other's ins and outs when we're starting a group, and so it's going to take a while before we know that's John. John's going to take a while, so why don't, hey, you two, let's do this while John's figuring out what he's doing. Okay. A lot of this, I feel, is not the book's fault. It's not the gaming system's fault. It is the players, the GMs. I know the first few times that I GM'd, I sucked because I was trying to have a sandbox, and people were kind of testing me out, and I lost control of the game. Okay? It takes time. It takes effort. If you can learn from these, you can create a better campaign. It would be like comparing Dr. Seuss with Tolkien. Okay? Who do you want to read? Who would tell you the better story? Tolkien. It's going to take time, and it's going to take effort, because Tolkien wrote a lot of weird names and all that into his legendarium. But it would be worth it. And so, rules-heavy games are superior, in my opinion. Now, if you want to go rules light, that's fine. And so, they want to call rules-heavy games crunchy. Well, in geology, they have, I believe it's the Moore or Bohr scale. This tells about the hardness of material. how hard, how tough it is. Diamonds are labeled a 10. They're the hardest substance that we know of on Earth. Okay? And so we would want our games to be tough. So we're talking about, we want diamonds, rubies, emeralds. These are tough stones. They are strong. They can take some abuse. And D&D is kind of like fluorite. It's soft. It's brittle. It's not a good stone. They don't make fluorite rings because fluorite is only a 4 and can break easily. And so it will be falling out of rings easily. And so that's why you'll see a lot of fluorite earrings, but never rings. Bet you didn't know that. I think that also, and please, like I said, Wizards of the Tower, I'm sorry if I seem to be picking on you, but this is talking about rules like games. They're soft. They have so many unknowns, so many things that, that are not defined, that, it cannot offer a lot in return. Yes, you can have fun, but you guys can just stand around a campfire and tell stories and have the same amount of fun. Okay? My game that I am working on is crunchy. It's going to be super crunchy. It's going to be like a diamond. It's going to be so strong, that detailed. And I think that D&D, the clones and all that, they have wanted to become so rules light, they are like diarrhea. Soft, smushy, stinks. Okay? It's just something that's not going to work with me. You got to put the effort in to get the high reward. And so if you guys want to tell an epic story and and share these moments that you created, you kind of have to go with a rules heavy game. You can't go, yeah, you said this and they said that and this is what happened. But in some of these rule light games, there's one thing that is missed. Just one sec, I got to get the prop. Drawer. Because there's that moment. Do you remember when Bill rolled the dice and he rolled a 16? He needed to roll over 40. Bill died. Remember that moment? Or there is the epic battle, and you're going, man, I got to roll high if I'm going to defeat this undead. And I rolled a 99. Actually, that's pretty good. And you're going, I had that epic roll. I got those fucking undead. That creates a better story, a better memory. So, yes, I think prompts and everything is needed. D120. So, this video is already 30 minutes long. I better call it quits. I would like to hear your opinion below. I think rules heavy games are great because a GM can homebrew it. So let's just say that in my big spell law here, I wanted, or a player wanted to use speed, which is a closed mentalist spell. Okay, we obviously know what it's all about. And the GM can just simply go, oh, we don't use that. That's not allowed. That's why we don't have the closed mentalism spells. They can use haste spell list, which is an essence spell list, but they can't use speed. Okay. They can do that to anything. So just because something is rules heavy does not mean that the GM is following every single dang rule option in there. He could be taking away half of them, and so that it is still kind of fast, but there are plenty of rules in place for structure, so that they got something that they can depend on, and if a reference has to be made, we know where it's at. I wanted to say this. The problem I have with rules light games is something that I experienced. Early on in my role-playing experience, I was part of a group. I was still learning, and I noticed that the GM was going kind of biased on people. I mean, if you were one of his good friends, you got your dice seemed to work better for you, and if you were an outsider or new to the group, like I was, you're rolling terribly. The modifiers were going against me. I mean, I'd swear that if you had to do this exercise, this series of actions, for my character, it would be considered a hard thing to do. But the person right next to me, they could do the same exact thing, and it's considered a light action. So their rolls always come out better. They got through it pretty easy, and people like me were struggling through it. If you have a set of rules like Game Master Law, Character and Campaign Law, you should be able to guide the GM to not be so biased, because they has things written down. You can kind of go and say, hey, isn't it supposed to be this way? If it's hard for me, isn't it hard for that person? In not all cases that's true, because an elf can do some things that a human can't do, or do better. And so there are some degrees of where it's not always the same for some people. You could have an event happening in a cave, and so if in your party you have a dwarf, they should have a slight advantage compared to everybody else. So there are some considerations to be made, but I believe rules help give agency to the players, and kind of make sure that the GM or DM are not taking advantage of people. We've seen all the videos out there about how GMs can be vengeful and all that, and maybe having a set of guidelines will help prevent the GM from going, hey, you rolled a 3. That means a fire-breathing dragon's going to come down and rip you to shreds. You're dead. Out of the blue. And so, yes, I might have, I'd say 100 pounds of books here. But they're not going anywhere. They stay here home with me. But I feel that the effort that I put in to my game with the help of these books, I create amazing campaigns that people enjoy. The group seems to like it when I throw a little oddity at them. Sometimes it's, what the hell, man? Or just like they laugh because, you see the bushes. There's some noises in there, and you've been warned that there are undead around. What do you do? And, they're going to, think of some massive protection, and out runs a young deer, a fawn. And that's what you need to do to make the exciting games. So I'm going to end it here. Please put your comments below. Which would you prefer, heavy or light rules? Or do you think that somewhere in the middle is great? So everybody, please take care. Be at peace.